Hello beauties, I'm back for another to buy or not to buy. In these videos, I talk about new makeup that is released and I try to talk myself out of buying anything and also talk you out of buying anything. We don't need any of these, we can dupe them. We probably have something very similar in our collection already. I'm also going to do my look with Bejeweled palette from Beaute Bar. So if that sounds good, don't forget to press the like button and let's get started. As always, we have coffee and I also have this rhubarb candle from Trader Joe's. This was in their 12-day advent calendar that I unboxed on camera. I don't know if this is available, but I do think Trader Joe's brings these scents back periodically. Also beauties, I mentioned I'm going to be using this, but because this palette has a lot of deep tones, and you all know I'm always complaining about the fact that palettes don't have enough light tones for me, I just randomly selected 3 light shade singles, 2 from Glaminatrix, the middle one is Ceres from Terra, and I'm going to try to see if I'm going to use any of them. I didn't do one of these last week, so we're a couple of weeks behind from the new makeup that is released, but frankly, I tallied the amount of money I saved by going on my no buy, and in fact, that's sort of the minimum bar of what I saved, which gives me even more incentive for not wanting to buy things. So I'm re-energized for roasting makeup. Let's get started. Festival of Colors from Makeup Toys Cosmetics. First of all, a brand called Makeup Toys, I don't know if I want to buy from. Reminds me of kids makeup, just the name. And the palettes, yet another rainbow palette. Who needs another rainbow palette in this day and age? Nobody. Nobody. You probably already have blends from Blend Bunny in your stash, and that is the rainbow palette that you need. You're not going to need any more. Let's continue. Buxom is releasing a few things. I've actually never used Buxom. It's probably not going to be the first time I'm going to be interested in buying anything from them this time either. Too light toned and too neutrally. So I think Sephora sale is still going on. If you are dying to buy something from Sephora, I kind of understand if there's something you only buy from Sephora. They have some Sephora favorite stuff released, and I've talked about some of them in the past videos, but there is this one also, but I have to tell you all. I got a sampler of Juliet Has a Gun at Sephora some weeks ago, and it was impossible to get the scent of this fragrance out of my clothes. Like, I applied it one time to one of my outfits, and even after washes, it still smells like that perfume. And honestly, it gives me a headache. So although I'm a perfume lover, but this perfume is not for me. Huda Beauty releasing lip liner and liquid lipstick set. I do not need anything for lips. You all have seen my declutter, and good Lord, I need to use everything I have before I get to new things. And beauties, I have become a good girl, and now when I get up as my morning routine, I use lip masks. So you all have seen how many lip masks I have. They're being used and I feel so proud of myself. But this is a reminder that I don't need anything more for lips. Viseart is having, is this a new palette? This looks so much like some of the stuff they've had before. I could swear this is an old palette. Paris Rêverie Étendue, and it's $45 for 12 shades. I'm not over constantly complaining about the prices. $45 is ridiculous. Although I hear that Viseart is a good quality brand, and I do want to try them. But no, I'm not going to go pick anything up at launch, and I'm not going to pay ridiculous launch prices. I'm going to buy stuff on sale. So also this palette is very neutral. It doesn't excite me. It's not even bright and colorful. It's so neutral and toned down. Moving on. Let's talk about this one, Beaute Bar, and that's kind of part of the reason I was like, I'm going to use this palette. I have to be honest with you all, I really like this one. These colors up here, you don't see very often. Like, I realized after using them that I actually don't have those colors in my gigantic collection, which is surprising to me. Also, some of these colors as well, like this one or these two. Yeah, so I've very much enjoyed using this palette, and we're going to use it today. But does that mean I'm going to go buy this new palette from Beaute Bar? Let's see how much it is. $75, beauties. No. That is insane. Come on. I can dupe this. I don't need. Now what I like about it is that they have made the pans magnetic so you can pull them out, because this one isn't. And what I ended up having to do was to sort of use a tool to get these pans out. So it's nice to see that they are listening to people and making them magnetic. But I can probably dupe this palette. I think I have these colors. I don't have any need for any of these. In there it says it's supposed to have 2 holochromes. I keep saying who needs holochromes, but evidently someone does. I've been living under a rock. But yeah, $75 is not happening. Another thing is that I feel like if I even wanted to pick a palette up like this, if the shades that were up my alley, I would not use this in the format that it comes in. I would use it as a supplement palette by like removing the pans all the time and making my own custom-made palettes with them, because I'm not going to carry around a 25 pan palette, let's be honest. So moving on. Let's talk about this one. And just by looking at this looks like the dupe for that Natasha Denona palette that dropped last year. Don't remember the name, but you all know which one I'm talking about. And ironically, I wanted that Natasha Denona palette, and I thought that might become the first palette that I would try from Natasha Denona. But when I see this one, it looks just way too neutral. Like, I have very little desire to use this palette. The only thing that draws me in is that neon yellow, which is like, why would I buy a palette for that? I'll just buy a neon yellow single. Okay, let me get started on the look. And for this one, I'm gonna use Behind the Scenes from Lorac. And the rhubarb candle smells kind of nice because it doesn't have an overwhelming smell like a lot of candles do. Like, it has a very nice, mild scent that is kind of planty. It's not super floral or sweet, which are, I'm not a huge fan of floral. I don't like sweet smells. Let's talk about this one from Unearthly. Now, full disclosure is I really like the way this palette looks, but it kind of reminds me of the first collab between Michaela and Glamlight. And I still have that collab, and I still have not really used that collab as much as I should have. And this palette is $72, although that collab is going to be free for me because I already own it. So which one do you think I will pick? Of course I'm going to use the one that I have. And in fact, I don't even use the one that I have, which tells me this collab is probably going to sit on a shelf and collect dust. But it's beautiful to look at. I really enjoy how it's arranged. I also can dupe this if I wanted to dupe it. Like, I don't have that kind of desire because I kind of feel like the color story is not super innovative. It's kind of the color spectrum kind of modified, so it's not something we haven't seen before. I already gave you a palette that kind of is a dupe, and $72, honestly, that's ridiculous. Since when did $72 become so okay for a, what is it, 18 pan? Saving myself that money, and I'm gonna get a massage with it. Let's think of that. Similarly for the cheek palette. Now this cheek palette for me is going to be more of an eye palette because these colors are more deep toned. As long as they're eye safe, I would not have any issues with that. But I have enough eye palettes that I don't even use for what they were created for. So I don't really see myself using cheek palettes for eyes. Let's move on. We already talked about this enough, but this is available if you care. And for this one, I'm going to use some of my Glam Shop singles. So getting into this color, Pink Tourmaline. I'm diffusing it on my hand because it looks like it's going to have a lot of fall off. Yeah, super, super pigmented. Now, I'm going to first put it down with this brush. And now I'm going to use a fluffier brush. This is 104. And I'm going to just blend the edges into my skin. I don't want this eye look to go all the way to my brows. Now using the same color and the same brush, I'm just gonna drag this under my lower lash line. And I'm kind of connecting the end here. Picking this pencil brush This is GB13. I'm just gonna blend this out into my skin again. If this palette had a lighter color that would not muddy up or anything with this color, I could use it right now. Beauties, after a certain age, you're gonna start seeing some tiny lines on your eyeshadow. Even if you blend it for hours, it's not gonna come out smooth. It's not patchy, but you might see tiny, tiny lines. It is what it is. I don't care, just letting you all know. And I can guarantee you, if you're not seeing it on other people's video, they are photoshopping it out. Or they take photos from angles where it doesn't show. Now let's continue with this one. Sigma Cool Neutrals. This is going to be available May 2nd. If there would have been a cool tone neutral palette I would have picked up, it would have been Cold Moon, but I duped it and I loved the dupe and I realized I did not need it. And this one doesn't even grab me like that. I also don't know why they're calling these cool tone neutrals when half of this palette is warm tone. False advertisement, beauties. Let's continue. Okay, it seems like Unearthly is sneak peeking something. And the outside packaging kind of reminds me of the palette we just talked about from Bella Beaute Bar, but it looks more vibrant. And if the inside has these kind of vibrant colors, you all know I have mentioned that I will use Notoriously Morbid at some point. So if the palette has this level of vibrancy inside, we might be talking. Notoriously Morbid is also pretty decently priced from what I remember. So I'm looking forward to the release. And beauties, let me quickly show you my nails. Nail time. These are from Kiss. Yeah. CXC Beauty has a few things. They have the Beautiful Nightmares and Sweet Dreams collections. So they have the 21 pans and also minis. 21 pans are $59. Which honestly, all the prices we've been seeing, this is one of the lower ones. And the 9 pans are $29. I've never used this brand, so I can't talk about the quality. But I think, and don't quote me on this, that the smaller pans are a mix and match of the colors that are in the larger pans. So if you buy everything, you're gonna have dupes. Nothing about these two color stories screams out to me because I have these 200 billion times over and I can dupe these. Also, I feel like the 21 pan palettes are overkill. Nobody needs that many yellow golds. We all probably have a lot of golds. I don't even really use golds, and I have a lot of gold singles. So yellows maybe, yellow mattes maybe, but golds, no. And this color story I've seen, I have that, what was it, Puerto Rico palette from Kosmetics. This reminds me of that, the color story, and I don't even use that one enough, so I'm not going to go use one of these. And then the blue one. This kind of range is my color story, so I can probably dupe this. Yeah, enough said there. Moving on. I'm not picking anything up. I also don't know much about CXC. Is it a good brand? Do they have good quality? Have you used them? Let us know. But if you absolutely have to pick something up, beauties, go use someone's code. Get some money off. Don't buy anything full price. It seems like Ensley Rain is re-releasing Strawberry Moon and Flower Moon palettes. So they were released last year. I should say they're returning. And it says there's pre-orders again, beauties. Okay, I give it to them. This time the pre-order makes more sense because it says 2 to 3 weeks pre-order. And these color stories are good color stories for this time of the year. So if you order them, by the time you get them, the season is appropriate, you can still use them. But don't get stuck in pre-orders, beauties. It just doesn't make any sense to order something and know that it's not even going to be shipped in a month. Who knows what's going to happen in that month? Maybe your life completely changes. Maybe the market crashes. Maybe there's some unexpected circumstances and you need that money. Also, one thing I've seen with brands is that the palettes could go on a sale and you bought them at a higher price. I pre-ordered something last year. I'm not going to name the brand, but I've talked about this in this channel before. And by the time I received it, which was like 3 months later, the palette had even gone through at least one sale round. Those kinds of things piss me off and make me not want to buy from a brand. I have never purchased anything from Kaja, but believe it or not, if I ever wanted to buy anything up, this would be it. Among all the super colorful spring, summer stuff, This caught my attention, which is kind of ironic because this is kind of cool toned, but it's beautiful. Now, would I go pick it up? No, because I have the lavender palette from ColourPop, and I think it probably does the same thing, and I don't even use that palette enough. How much is it? $26. $26 for 3 shades. That's like $12 a shade. No. If there were gold specks in it, maybe, but no. And because you all know I love nail polish, let's talk about what's the tea from Lights Lacquer. So cute. And as much as I have very specific interests in eyeshadow colors, and I would probably be like, maybe not pastels for eyeshadows, I have no restrictions when it comes to nail polish. I do neutrals, I do pastels, I do pretty much anything. But I suspect very highly that I have these colors already in my collection. I just have way too many nail polishes to remember off the top of my head, but it's highly likely. Okay, this one is something that has me thinking. Touch of Glam is releasing 20 new singles, and these singles also include some matte colors, and Touch of Glam has not been a brand that has released a lot of mattes. I think the first time they released mattes was in the palettes that they released. Now, I think what has happened with me and my no buy is that because I dupe a lot of palettes, I'm kind of gravitating more towards buying single shadows, which is what is capturing my attention here. Will I go pick this up right now? First of all, no, because I don't even know when this is releasing and what the price is gonna be, but I'm interested in hearing more. Beauties, I know my no buy is over. If you didn't know, I was on a no buy. It ended end of March. There will be a video coming up of me talking about extending my no buy with some new rules. If those are the types of videos you're interested in, it's gonna come up soon. I can give you a sneak preview, which is I'm gonna be more prone to picking up singles than picking up palettes. Continuing with the look, I want to use this beautiful blue called Lapis Lazuli, kinda in my outer V area. And this is a very special blue shade. I just love it. I don't have a lot of blues like this because it has a tad bit of coolness in it. I'm now going to go into this one, Charoite. I can't pronounce this, I suppose, but it's some sort of gem. And I'm gonna use this under my lower lash line to deepen it out a little more, but just the outer half. I'm going to use this brush again to blend these into each other. Magenta has blue in it, so we should not see any muddiness. I'm going to use a little bit of this Lylak, which is from the Lylak Beauty brand, which is a sister brand to Krash Cosmetics. I talked about this in my brands that I tried from Spain and Australia video if you're curious. And I'm gonna go here with it. It's a pigment glue. So this one is electric from Glaminatrix, and I think Ceres will go much better with this color because it's purple. Let's use Ceres. This is one of those beautiful, beautiful colors. And I'm gonna put it here. With this brush again, and whatever blue is left on it, I'm just blending this edge. Okay, my eye look is done. Let's continue. What is these from Terra Beauty, Pollywood, and Pardon My Frenchie. These are 16 pans for $12 each. But neither color story is for me. And I see a lot of redundant shades in these, and I already have a lot of Terra Beauty palettes that I don't even use. But it was very refreshing seeing lower prices. There's also this one, Gamma Ray from Rebel Rouge Labs, that you can pre-order until 14th of April. I do not have prices, but another rainbow palette that I'm not interested in that I can probably do. Beauties, I went and completed the look off camera, and everything I used is in the description box below. Let's talk about this last one. New releases from Luxie Beauty. These are new additions to their Auroras. Type of shades Auroras for them is a type of texture. And these are 10 new shades that they've added. Now, I don't think I'm going to pick anything up because I already have enough look-sees, and this photo doesn't give me a whole lot of incentive. This looks like 10 different variations of gold, which added to all the golds I already have, I definitely don't need. But if you want to pick anything up, I can't judge because it can't get lower than $3 nowadays. And that is it, beauties, for us today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in any of these, or if you're interested but you're saying no to any of these, please share that in the comments below with me. I love you all. Have an amazing day, and until next time, bye.